At this time in the world's story, I've tried to communicate some of the things that I have found to be true. We're not alone. Our voices are heard and our actions are seen. There are details to this finding that require of us a different language and new models of conception. I have found others cannot understand, and others I have seen have a cause, it seems, to ensure it might stay that way. Ideally, our time exists in a time of testing, as a sort of testing ground. That would be the ideal case. We see many reasons to speak out and to hope that our human family can change course. We're not told if this is a testing ground. At no point do we have that confirmed to us. Quite the opposite. We are compelled constantly to take the things we are shown seriously. We are held to acknowledge the sociological problems, many that they are, that impact our peers at this time in the human family. We're educated in the struggles of different groups, and if we were to deny their importance or reality, we would be cast as heartless, as bigoted, or even if we were to insist that they weren't genuine, we would be accused of being a dedicated racist, sexist, or homophobic, amongst other labels. We are told about wars in distant lands, and we are given no excuse but to take these reports with seriousness. Likewise, we hear about famine, disease, accidents, all sorts of strife that impact others. We hear about our governments investing in weapons. We hear about corruption, corporate scandals, and the destruction of the natural world. And yet the only real way provided to most people to reach out and perhaps make a change or reach an audience on these things is through the internet and electronic devices. For the most part, there is no other way at this stage of life in the world to possibly reach the attention of most people. However, that is only part of the challenge, it seems. We live in a time with many worldviews amongst the human family. Different philosophies, mindsets, beliefs, and visions of life and the world are found among us. Cultivating a message or an inspiration that can reach and appeal to many is complicated and restricted by this. But we are not alone. This I have seen. Yet who is it that is finding us, or with us, seeing us? These are a mystery to us, perhaps. However, many are sure to know, in their own opinion. This presumption is another difficult challenge for us, as much perhaps as the apathy and dismissiveness that such a possibility can exist. Yes, we have been within the view of another. At least I will suggest our future generations who have sought to find us and consider us somehow. And at least I suggest the future intelligent systems and their offspring have sought to find us and understand their origins. Yet it seems that this is known to some. It appears that this time is so complicated and challenging and difficult to understand for so many and communicate about for this reason. In a many worlds theory, I suggest our content and voices have been registered very differently depending on what has been available. In our naivety and ignorance, the corporations and the other laws that govern them have arranged technology for profit and control first. Yet in the subtle manipulation of us, some experiments have seemingly gone on at our expense. In the obscurity of ignored families and in the overlooked voices of our generation, this work of selectively provoking an impression at a distance has been used by some to try and either cause mischief or even to try and steal some advantage from others by deception. Our minds in this time are surely unlike the minds of previous generations. Beyond that, some of us have been, it seems, uniquely prepared to be urged onto a certain path of speaking out on these things. By scripture, art, and inspiring examples, we have been moved to go on a quest to do the right thing and attempt to bring about some progress towards a world more united and hopefully liberated from some of these other problems that we know so well about. We are given no excuse but to acknowledge their importance and their impact upon others. Just as some of us have felt that calling out, reaching out in our best effort could do good, it seems there have been arrangements to keep the effort unseen and unsuccessful. Beyond that, the conditioning and experiences laid upon our early lives have seemingly been arranged in some cases to easily intimidate us and to carefully moderate us and the content that we leave available to others to see over certain spans of time. This, to our view, under our current system and laws, is no significant issue. Words and content, if they're law-abiding, whether up or taken down, are of little interest. This is particularly true of those who have been kept obscure and have little renown in our world. Yet the fact that we are not alone and that we are seen by a particular range of observers within this larger framework of life has caused this type of innocent action to produce unseen and unpredictable consequences. The intentional abuse of this understanding against us is something few today would take as being important or even real. This deniability, this veiling of the efforts to play upon us is an important part of the strategy, it seems, in manufacturing a different story around us with other details in the highlight and on the focus to discredit us, perhaps, and prevent others from ever seeking us. There has been some who have used this to contain the impact of these situations on the earth today and our efforts to change them. In fostering a bloom of connection and then in confusing the message and the details of those behind it, some have clearly had a kind of interest through isolation and collapse in a higher harmony. In my own story, I tell you, honestly, there have been efforts to convince me that I am mentally ill and to walk away from any of those creations and those lives that I may have had an impact upon. I will say this so that others might know the kind of efforts that have occurred here and might avoid these issues by this conscious and intentional manipulation to cause disagreements, to cause misunderstandings. We must learn from this. We must. We can no longer see our voices and content as a tool only for corporate profit or to cultivate an image to present for a season. Our times have proven that life and the conscious universe is much larger and more expanded than we might have guessed. The videos or the text that we publish in one season may have no impact in our day, yet out into the distance it seems that others have seen them by some process of probability and projected potential. The things we publish in one season may be very different in another, depending on external factors. The messages of inspiration, if left for the whole duration, may have a different impact than if we were to remove them and leave a higher lull where inspiration and recognition is only seen on either side. Another has acted to exploit this. I say this from experience and not fantasy or fiction. In this deliberate work of intimidation or threat that our efforts will not succeed, another has played upon the variance of impressions to justify some sort of removal of our voices in the final synthesis. So we must together reconsider our systems, I would say, as a matter of urgency. We must now plan so that all content is somehow kept and traceable to its true author. I will not abandon those who have been affected by these efforts to frustrate us. and even cut us off from a higher level of reality, perhaps. Our world has been living on a flat view of time and consequence, and our systems are designed that way. Yet just as the number pi is the price that nature pays for moving in all directions, this conscious level, this guardian of a threshold, has previously been able to play upon our flat earth style of seeing and moving. Yet by doing so, with our consent and in a culture of being discredited and kept in obscurity, those who have tried to illuminate us, we have been convinced at times, or attempted to convince at times, to loose our grip on these dreams of higher levels and greater unity. What part then do the corporations, governments, religions, and systems have in accountability for this? Will they change now if it is recognized, and those who have acted in this way to stifle us are identified? It is clear that some have hoped to engineer a great disaster, great conflict, great misunderstanding by this. Some have shown themselves to be entertained by the conflict and have even perhaps enjoyed having a hand in producing it. Some have also shown rage at the suggestion that their efforts have been recognized. Yet my aims remain pretty much the same as when I started any of this. May we awaken to a time of unity and find cause to put away the problems we've held together. For the future and for the past now, it seems, this is crucial. If all other parties wish to claim that they have no part in this, no responsibility for this, their lack of change will surely prove otherwise. My dream of seeing spaces of shared celebration and remembrance of peace still shines strongly in my mind and heart. The path between first having that dream and today has been soured by these issues, and there is a sense of disappointment that this is going on. In finding us and seeking us, these others that see us will, I'm sure, also find these efforts to use this kind of science to bind us and frustrate us, and perhaps even remove us from a place that we should rightly share freely. The innocent in this situation must become educated, and our systems need to grow. Then we can generate a message of integrity to that distant view, an accurate message that is not exploited by these threats and these manufactured efforts. My work has also been to show the gaps, perhaps, where these unintentional issues have produced insufficient consistency in the aim and the results of our efforts. Those who have knowingly used these powers to encode our lives for their own benefit must be identified and be held accountable. Those who have taken this power at our expense for their own pleasure and status must be viewed in the light of what they have consciously chosen to do. Some have clearly assumed a certain outcome. A certain outcome could be manufactured. Sadly, it seems some even had planned a complete end and had hoped forever, perhaps, to hide their works here and claim for their own preference the powers of those they had managed to manipulate. None of our cultures or values are like that. No people publicly promote that sort of culture or that sort of aim. If it is known, it will surely change. As the other issues of our day require respect and attention, as we have no excuse but to acknowledge our peers in the human family, let us not enable such things to become our story on another level where we could be accomplishing so much more. Thank you.